even in politics. You know, it's so much going on in politics right now. I could say a lot. I'm going to try to be mindful of what I say. I don't really want to piss people off and to get into this big political argument online right now. But here's what I will say. You can't just vote party lines across the board, okay? I think y'all need to start to get to know the candidates that you're voting for in your local elections, city, state, or even national, okay? Get to know these people because there are some out there that people are just voting for because they look the part, they might talk the part, but they are actually freaking idiots. In this case, there's a possibility that this man might fit into the category of a PEDO. Y'all know what that means? We got to get into this. Y'all parse my language, okay? I'm going to try to parse it. I might use some strong language from time to time. It's intended for mature audiences only. Mommy of three, take it away. Let's get it.
Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, new website articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer.
You say that man looks sus. I don't think it's just looks. I think he might be guilty. Okay? I think he might be guilty, but again, that's just an opinion. That is not an actual indictment because we don't know, but there's a lot of evidence pointing towards that this man just very well might be guilty of some heinous stuff. Okay? So I'm going to be using two different sources. TheFire.org is one of the sites, and Fox2Now.com. So Riverview Mayor Michael Cornell, who is this idiot right here, this individual right here, has a colorful past. Y'all ready for this? In 2014, while serving as a civilian employee with the St. Louis Police Department, he was indicted for felony sex assault. After he was accused of regularly pretending to be a police officer, grooming the alleged victim, who was 14 years old when they met, and then dominating his life by threatening harm and abusing him so he could not leave. Cornell ultimately pled guilty to misdemeanor impersonation of a police officer, and the remaining charges were dropped. Can somebody post some rainbow emojis in the chat? I don't know if you can find them. Can somebody post the rainbow emojis in the chat? For real. That is a funny looking dude. Like, it's just something about when you hear him talk, you see how he behaves. And there's people that are around him that been talking about this stuff for a while. And it's just, they just ignored it. They voted him anyway. I don't know who he was running against, but they voted for him. I'm going to read that. Yep, church lady caught it. Yes, it was a boy, Damon. It was a boy. Yes. Copy and paste those rainbow emojis. Yes, this is falling on the LGBT community yet again because I've been indicting these men. I'm sorry. I'm not against LGBT as long as y'all are not doing this stuff to kids. Do it to yourselves. Do it in your own community and do it behind closed doors. I don't care what most people do behind closed doors as long as it's legal and it ain't got nothing to do with kids. Okay? People think that I'm anti-LGBT. Do what you want behind closed doors as long as it don't involve children and as long as it's not illegal. That's my standpoint. The stuff that they are doing, these gay men, what they do is pervasive. No, you're not all, no. Not at all. Not all bad. I'm just talking about just the bad ones. Please remember, please understand where I'm coming from. Just the bad ones. When I talk about LGBT Men are motivated primarily by sex. Women are primarily motivated by emotional. When women get together, it's not because they're like they want to engage physically, sexually with each other. It's normally when they want to engage mentally with each other, right? With men, it's primarily motivated by sex. Here's another additive, and I've talked about this before. Pure facts. So again, this is not an indictment on all of LGTB. What it does mean is that if you have skeletons in the closet, you got to expose them and you got to clean them out. If you got bad people in the community, you got to clean them out. If you got bad people in the political arena, you got to clear them out. If you got bad Democrats, you got to clear them out, right? If you got bad family members, clear their asses out, right? Okay, thank you. I'm with you. We together. I promise you. I promise. It sounds harsh, but it follows a large level of logic. So hear me on this. In order for these men to become LGTB, for the most part, statistics actually say that it's because they are bred and groomed into becoming LGTB. The men. Specifically. Now, I know it does happen to women where women might be assaulted in some fashion, and it might make them not want to go towards men. Like, you know what? I just don't like no men at all, and it pushes them over here to this side. With the men, this is more of a thing that they're groomed. If something happened to them when they're kids, then there's a high probability that they might end up going to that side of the fence. Okay? And then once they become on that side of the fence, they realize that, well, we're not being born, we are bred. So in order to have more choices in LGTB, guess what they have to do? They have to create more. They have to encourage more. There has to be a movement. There has to be actions, which is why they were taking these men dressed up as women in drag and going into the schools and reading books. Do y'all remember when that was happening? When Joe Biden was in office? Y'all remember that? How many of y'all actually know of somebody who had a drag queen come into the school and read your kid a book? Didn't happen at none of my kids' school. Because if it did, I would have shut the whole damn school down. So it didn't happen to my kids, didn't happen at their school, but I know that there were schools that it did happen in, and you'd have to ask yourself, why are they behaving that way? Why are they doing that? Why can't you just dress up regular and read a fucking book? They are literally trying to sell an image to say that this behavior is okay. The behavior that's supposed to be behind closed doors. And why would you be exposing that to children who should know nothing about sexuality? Children, let me say that again. Children should not know anything about sexuality. They learn, they hear, they see, they watch. And it is wrong when you start to inject that stuff into kids. They were aiming at elementary school kids to start them young. The reason why I'm bringing that up, I want to read this again, and y'all tell me, does this not sound like grooming? This individual was indicted for felony sex assault after he was accused of regularly pretending to be a police officer, grooming the alleged victim who was 14 years old when they met, and then dominating his life by threatening him harm and abusing him so he could not leave. It sounds like you're trying to create another LGTB member on the men's side. That's what it sounds like. And they use the term grooming. What is grooming? You're trying to get a person to see your side of things, why you're attracted to something, and you want that person to be attracted because you're attracted to that person and want them to attract other people to behaving that way. That's what grooming is. Cornell ultimately pled guilty to misdemeanor impersonation of a police officer, and the remaining charges were dropped. Trust me, this is only part of it. Part of it. Okay? Y'all remember, and please don't get mad at me. Do y'all remember when they tried to say that there was like 26 different types of sexes rather than just male and female? Y'all remember that bull crap? We lived through that. We lived through that too. Same type of people. A decade later, after becoming mayor of Riverview, Missouri, a St. Louis suburb, Cornell is again facing sexual harassment allegations. A lawsuit pending against Cornell alleges he offered a Texas resident a job with the city because he got power, began making advances on him when he moved there, and fired him when the man refused his advances. That should be a charge you should face prison time for. You should face prison time for that. You could say I'm anti-gay. I get that. I definitely understand it. You ain't got to remove the comment from the chat. It's okay. I want people to have their opinions in here. But I think that anybody LGBT in here has been listening to me for years and they understand where I'm coming from, right? You can have your opinion. There is everything wrong with grooming children. Everything about that is wrong. Everything about that. If you are an adult and then you decide to go that direction, by all means, do what you do. It is wrong to encourage children to think that that is okay. That is pervasive and that is wrong. That is against nature. Okay? I am pro live your life. Hopefully everybody understands. Do what you do, just don't break the law. Breaking the law, breaking the law. Stop breaking the law. This fool was breaking the law, breaking the law, breaking the law. Hopefully everybody understands. Soon, a St. Louis area resident made a joke at Mayor Cornell's expense, posting a comment on social media about a missing youth and remarking, "Someone check Riverview mayor's basement." Oh my God. Wow. In short order, Mayor Cornell and the city of Riverview issued a subpoena demanding the critic appear before the mayor and board of aldermen of the city of Riverview and testify about, what's that? Issue of information regarding a missing juvenile, inciting violence against a elected official, cyberbullying of Riverview residents, and slander and defamation of character. But they can't take a joke. You could take it up the anal, but you can't take a joke. That's the irony. Because the subpoena targeted protected speech, satire about a public official, fire issued two public records requests to the city Riverview seeking records about a subpoena and what officials plan to do. But the city of Riverview failed to respond to those requests. Public records laws aren't worth the paper they're written on if local officials can just ignore them. So on June 26th of 2025, Fire, working with attorney Eric Veith, filed a lawsuit in St. Louis County asking the court to order Riverview to comply with Missouri's Sunshine Law. Let's go to our next article on fox2now.com. So Mayor Cornell Jr., the mayor for the city of Riverview, has been charged with multiple sex crimes, according to the newly filed records. And these involve children, by the way, for those who think, oh, he's anti-gay. No, I'm actually anti-harming children. God bless the advocates, okay? Everybody catch that? I'm anti against people hurting and harming kids. I'm a father. I'm sorry. I'm a grown ass man. I don't like nobody messing with kids. The St. Louis Prosecuting Attorney's Office has charged Cornell with 4 counts of second-degree statutory sodomy, 3 counts of first-degree sodomy or attempted sodomy, 1 count of first-degree harassment, and 1 count of possession of child porn. Y'all catch that? That got to do with children. In total, Cornell has been charged with 9 felony offenses. The St. Louis County Police Department reports Cornell is in custody as of Thursday afternoon. The arrest comes after recent searches by police at Riverview City Hall and Cornell's home. According to the St. Louis County Prosecuting Attorney, Melissa Price Smith, it's believed that there are at least 4 victims, including at least 1 child. Y'all catch that? I want to call this out. For the person that says that I'm anti-gay, do you notice they never talk about the children? Do y'all notice that? A hit dog will holler, won't it? You've been watching me for years, but yet you know I've been saying this shit for years. If it ain't got nothing to do with kids, am I going to talk about it? More than likely, probably not. Right? Love you too, church lady. Much love, dear. Most everybody knows if it ain't got nothing to do with kids, do what you do. I rarely even talk about murders that happen if it ain't got nothing to do with kids. I rarely will talk about missing persons cases if it ain't got nothing to do with kids. I feel like adults can handle their own and their family circle can handle it. I rarely will talk about it. Charges stem from alleged incidents as far back as January of 2016. That is 10 years of accusations that this man has been fooling around with underage children. Authorities say that they began investigating allegations against Cornell last month. Cornell, who is 39 years old, has been a figure in Riverview government since 2022, first as a trustee, then elected as the city's mayor in April of 2024. This is not the first time Cornell has faced controversy. Multiple lawsuits have been previously filed, and what y'all want to bet that this fool is going to probably file a lawsuit against me on my channel? My little bitty insignificant channel. Because he just seems like the type to get butthurt, no pun intended. Maybe intended. Don't he look like the type to send subpoenas and send court documents and lawyer threats and threaten to sue me over $100,000? Don't he just look like the type to threaten me because I spoke out against him for these allegations that he's been facing since at least 10 years? Don't he look like the type? How many of y'all would be surprised if I start up a live stream one of these days and tell y'all, yep, I got an email from his lawyer and they want to take me to court over my little video? I get a lot of threats. I just don't get a lot of follow-throughs with threats. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Multiple lawsuits have been previously filed against the city of Riverview claiming misconduct and sexual harassment by him. St. Louis County Police Lieutenant Colonel Jerry Lohr said during a Thursday news conference on charges, "I think he portrayed himself as an individual who had power, who had prestige, and I think he used that to entice some of his victims." Price Smith says that there is a possibility of additional victims. If you are a victim or know somebody who's a victim, please come forward, said Price Smith. Contact the St. Louis County Police Bureau Crime Against Persons. The Bureau's number is 314-615-5400. So I guess if he gets to threatening and harassing me, I guess I'm going to call that number, won't I? I might need some help with my legal defense, some funds. I might need a lawyer. Hey, Google search it. Hey, Google searching Reach, man, it's crazy, bro. Again, they're just allegations for now. But I just think that when there's smoke, there's fire. The Riverview Police Department has released a statement following the mayor's arrest, calling the charges brought against Cornell disturbing. No matter your no matter of your position or title, no one is above the law. Anyone who commits offenses and believes they do not have to abide by the law, they can expect they will be fully prosecuted, said Captain Torian Times. Cornell will be jailed on a $1 million cash-only bond, according to the Missouri court record. A bond review is set for January the 22nd, which is actually earlier today, followed by a preliminary hearing on February the 18th. So I would love to see how he responds to that. But I'm not speaking it into existence. I just wouldn't be surprised if he decides to try to attack me. But see, I need to do if I do a GoFundMe, are y'all going to support me? If I do a GoFundMe to pay for my lawyer fees, because ain't no telling what he going to try to sue me for, because I ain't got it. I'm broke over here, pimping, all right? I'm broke over here.
Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107.
Y'all do me a favor and please hit that thumbs up. Thank you for those who shared this video. Thank you for those who keep an open mind. And thank you for those who don't get upset about my points of view. Please understand, I'm advocating for children no matter what. You got me a lawyer? Thank you, Vicky. I appreciate that. Again, I'm speaking on behalf of kids. Please remember that.
We are back tonight with the latest in our investigation into the mayor of Riverview, who is sitting in jail tonight accused of several sex crimes. Mike Cornell Jr. is facing multiple sexual assault and child pornography charges. Tonight, our Avery Martinez brings us insight into the Riverview Police Department as he fact-checks the mayor's claims the Ku Klux Klan could be active in the community.
We haven't found any evidence of that, but we have found many concerns about the mayor's behavior in office, like those of former police chief Eddie Simmons, who says you can't talk to Cornell because he's convinced he's right about everything. The former chief claims the mayor was trying to influence local officers and even pit them against each other. Working there was so bad, he and many of his fellow officers resigned en masse in 2023.
He's very paranoid.
That's former Riverview Chief of Police Eddie Simmons, who only led the force for 6 weeks before he quit.
Seems like 6 months, but I was about a little over 6 weeks, and it was turmoil from the start.
First Alert 4 was there in 2023 when Simmons packed up, saying he couldn't work with Mayor Mike Cornell.
He's really smart, but he lacks common sense.
Simmons says the mayor was constantly at the police department.
He would come in and tell everybody, I got listening devices all in here. I can hear everything you guys are saying.
Cornell threatened the officers with FBI investigations, claiming he could fire whoever he wanted when he wanted.
They were really upset because the way the mayor was treating them.
He tried to talk to Mayor Cornell, but it didn't work.
He said, you're making this a hostile working environment. And it just got worse. And then the line that I wasn't going to cross, he took $8,000 from everybody.
An $8,000 pay raise was approved by a past Riverview Board of Trustees who agreed to give each officer a raise instead of hiring a new policeman. Cornell was absent at that meeting, according to the agenda, but quickly set out to reverse that raise. He did, and almost the entire department, including Chief Simmons, left their posts.
And then I asked him about my final check, which I never got.
But it wasn't just the money. The resigning officers put out a statement at the time mentioning Cornell as a factor in their decision.
He was just trying to control everything, and he just couldn't.
Simmons came to Riverview at the personal invitation of Mayor Cornell after an extensive career in law enforcement. Soon, Simmons felt he wasn't even in control of his department.
He'd come in, why are you doing this, why are you doing that? No, I said, just stay over there.
Because Mayor Cornell was trying to take charge of the police.
He ran the whole show, everything. His fingerprints was on everything. And so I even asked him, I said, well, look here, what did you hire me for? Because you're certainly not going to tell me what to do as a chief.
Simmons says Cornell was making some interesting choices.
He came up, going to help out because we were short. Helping out nothing. You can't do that.
And he even started using official equipment.
He had an old police car, tinted all the windows out, and he was riding around in that. I did my inventory, and it had a gun missing. There was a gun missing, and I knew he had it.
Simmons says he never saw Cornell with a gun, but Mayor Cornell told me before his arrest he often carried protection.
First of all, I'm protected by God, you understand? So I look at that measures. Yes, I do have a firearm that I carry with me, and I'm prepared to fight fire with fire if it comes down to that.
Simmons also feels the mayor tried to control public meetings with police help.
I want to show y'all something, because this is where that picture comes in. Yep, you can't talk to people like this. That's the gun they're talking about right there. Y'all see it? Hopefully y'all can see that on the screen. That's the gun that they're talking about. Right there on his hip. Definitely looks like a service weapon. Maybe the missing service weapon, who knows? But look at this.
The conversation's got to be his. He controls that, and he makes sure he gets the police there to throw anybody out who wants to talk about what he's doing wrong.
Multiple former elected leaders of Riverview, including Darren Johnson, confirmed people were removed from meetings for questioning the mayor.
Mike was like, "You're out of order, you're out of order." And the guy was just had a complaint, and Mike had the officer kick him out of the hall.
The police department had to be completely rebuilt after the mass departure. You can see the lawsuits, more details on Cornell's background, all on FirstAlert4.com under the Riverview Investigation tab. In our next segment, First Alert 4 will look at claims by former Riverview elected officials who say disagreeing with the mayor may result in being handcuffed and becoming his enemy. For First Alert 4 Investigates, I'm Avery Martinez.
Our team has been investigating the mayor for over a month now. You can watch our reports both on our news app and our stream.
Riverview. Mike Cornell Jr. set to face a judge this morning. This comes after he was arrested on 9 charges, including sex crimes involving minors.
Yeah, when this news broke, our team was already digging into what we're now learning was a very troubled tenure in that office. First Alert 4's Justin Andrews, he is live for us this morning. He's at the St. Louis County Jail where the mayor is being held just ahead of his court appearance.
Yeah, he's locked up right behind me at the jail, as you all just mentioned, being held on that $1 million cash-only bond. At 10 o'clock this morning, he will be facing a judge. It was last week when St. Louis County prosecutors alerted us that they arrested and charged the 39-year-old mayor, Mike Cornell Jr., with 9 counts, including multiple sex crimes, some involving minors. Pretty disturbing here. Police say there are 4 victims, 2 of them under the age of 17, and the alleged crimes stretch back years, from 2016 until now. Investigators also say they found child sexual abuse material on the mayor's cell phone. Because of the nature of this case, police believe there may be even more victims, and they're asking anyone who may be impacted or affected by this to come forward when they're ready. I want to let you know, though, this morning, even before these criminal charges were filed, our news team here at First Alert 4 had already been looking into Mayor Cornell's time in office. What we found: at least 7 active lawsuits against the city of Riverview, all naming Cornell Jr. 2 of those lawsuits specifically accused the mayor of inappropriate sexual behavior involving city employees. We're keeping our eyes on today's hearing. We do have several stories surrounding what's going on in Riverview and this mayor. You can have that. You can find that right now on our website and also on the First Alert 4 news app. We're live in downtown Clayton this morning. I'm Justin Andrews, First Alert 4.
All right, thank you, Justin, for those details.
Yeah.
We did check ahead for you this morning. We also found out that tonight at 6:30, the City of Riverview Board are actually going to have their first meeting since their mayor was arrested and charged. It's also a meeting we'll be watching closely as Riverview begins to look to what.
Hey, I'm disappointed, I'm frustrated, I'm upset, I'm angry.
And most of all, the chief of police says he feels sorry for the victim, who's accusing 28-year-old Michael Cornell, a civilian prisoner processing clerk, of forcible sodomy, impersonating a police officer, deviant sexual assault, and third-degree assault. His bond is set at $150,000. Prosecutors say the 4 separate sexual attacks happened between May and October of last year in the suspect's home. And Cornell is accused of pretending to be a police officer in a separate incident.
Visited the employer of the victim, identified himself as a police officer, and said, if you don't give me personal information about our victim, I'm going to have the FBI swarming all over this business.
Tonight, the mayor of a small North County town is now charged with multiple sex crimes. This comes after our team has spent over a month digging into the mayor. We are talking about Mike Cornell Jr., the mayor of Riverview. He's facing multiple counts, including statutory sodomy and possession of child pornography. Our Kimberly Donahue is in studio for us tonight, hearing from police, Kim, and the county prosecutor about this case.
Morgan, our team has been looking into concerning claims about Riverview government for the past month. Today's developments are something county officials describe as deeply disturbing and are looking to get justice for all those affected.
When you have somebody that's in a position of authority who is able to somewhat use that position of authority to abuse other people, obviously it's traumatic and devastating.
Choice words from the St. Louis County Police Department following the arrest of Riverview Mayor Mike Cornell Jr. Thursday. He's charged with 9 crimes. Most are sexual in nature.
To every victim, we want you to know that there is no shame in the crimes that were perpetrated against you. The only person that should feel shame in this situation is Mr. Cornell.
St. Louis County Police say Cornell was arrested during a traffic stop in Riverview. The St. Louis County Prosecuting Attorney's Office charged him with 4 counts of second-degree statutory sodomy, 3 counts of first-degree sodomy or attempted sodomy, 1 count of first-degree harassment, and 1 count of possession of child pornography. Officials say the investigation began in December when a victim came forward to a local law enforcement agency, and the allegations date back to 2016. The investigation focuses on 4 victims, including minors. St. Louis County authorities confirmed that previous police activity at Riverview City Hall on January 2nd was tied to this investigation.
Our biggest concern is that there may be additional victims during this time frame I listed or even before. This is a call to any potential victims. Your voice matters. If you are a victim or you know someone who is, please come forward.
First Alert 4 has been investigating Mayor Mike Cornell and the city of Riverview since he claimed the KKK was active in his community in December. We have not found any evidence of these claims outside of the statement made by the mayor. First Alert 4 has heard from Riverview community members about concerning behavior from Mayor Mike Cornell before the arrest. Officials believe Cornell abused his position of power to lure victims.
To those of us that are in positions of authority, when we abuse that position of authority, it ruins the trust that the public has placed in us. And situations like this, unfortunately, tear down that fabric of trust.
Following today's news, the current leader of Riverview Police sharing a statement with our team saying, quote, "I want the city of Riverview to know the police department stands with the residents of this community and the victims of these heinous acts. No matter of your position or title, no one is above the law. Anyone who commits offenses and believes they do not have to abide by the law can expect they will be fully prosecuted." End quote. Officials believe there could be more victims. If you think you might be one, you are encouraged to contact the St. Louis County Police. In the studio, Kimberly Donahue, First Alert 4.
Okay, so they think there might be more victims. I guess we'll just see kind of how this plays out and just kind of go from there. Other than that, I think that when there's smoke, there's fire, and there's been smoke with this story, with this man for a long amount of time, okay? So we'll go from there. We'll definitely do an update, and we're going to see this through to the end. I don't know how long it's going to take, but we'll just kind of go from there and see what happens, all right? Please be very, very careful who y'all elect. Y'all got to start getting to know these people and stop just be like, he's black, so I'm voting for him. The other person's something else, so I'm not voting for him. Like, get to know these people. There's ways of getting to know these people, man. And I don't know. Like, a lot of people say they hadn't been saying good stuff about him for a while, from what I can tell. But nonetheless, we'll see what happens. Continue to keep speaking up for these babies and protect your kids, and we'll just kind of go from there. All right, this is your boy DJ Judge J. Let me know what you guys think. All right, thank you.